Today on Have You Played? We work hard and we PlayStation hard with Astro's Playroom, Sony. And looking for a safe place to self-isolate? We recommend the entire US state of Wyoming with Firewatch. Ready or not, it's game time! And now, two men who have yet to put away their childish things. Your hosts, Andrew Taylor and Matt Hall.
Hello, welcome to all three of our YouTube subscribers. We'd like to welcome y'all to an all-new episode of Have You Played?
My name is Andrew.
Yes, my name is Matt.
And we have some just delectable choices of video games for you today. I'm going to be presenting a game called Astro's Playroom.
And I will be presenting a game called Firewatch.
So, dig in and let's get started.
All right, here's Astro's Playroom for the PS5.
Astro's Playroom is a free 3D platformer collectathon game that comes preloaded on all PlayStation 5 consoles. It's a sequel to Astrobot Rescue Mission, but I don't know anything about that series. You control an Astrobot that I just call Astro, or Astro Boy, and navigate through the microscopic world inside of a PS5. Inside a PlayStation 5. I wonder if there's two guys stuck in there also forced to review games. The hub world, called the CPU Plaza, yes, this is quite literally the inside of a PlayStation 5, lets you adventure on into several other computer part-based worlds, like Memory Meadow and GPU Jungle. You'll quickly realize that these cute worlds are inhabited by dozens of other Astrobots, enemies, computer jokes, and more Sony references than you can hack a database at. The controls will feel very familiar to anyone who's played a 3D platformer. I'd say it's most similar to Mario Sunshine. You have the limited jetpack, but not quite the same mobility and agility of the Scarlet Plumber Man. No long jumps, triple jumps, or wave dashing here. Oh wait, that was in Smash Brothers. One thing that really sets Astro apart from other platformers is its use of Sony's brand new DualSense controller. You've heard of DualShock and DualShock 3, but this is something else entirely. Well, it's mostly the same, but with the Switch's HD rumble, your old Lenovo laptop's touchpad on top, and something I actually found extremely cool, force feedback. No, it's not a comment card that the Jedis fill out, it's a dynamic resistance on the controller's triggers. Basically, when you pull back on the triggers, certain things in the game can make it require more effort to pull the trigger back fully, like hanging onto a ledge or charging up a big jump. Astro's Playroom also acts as a tech demo for the PS5 to show off its fancy new hardware, so there's quite a lot of motion control and quote-unquote gimmick stuff here. But I found it worked pretty dang well and was integrated in a way that was fun and engaging. The frog suit is a little slow, but it's fun. I'm sure in a year or so we'll get the Xbox TrueSense or XSense controller with the exact same tech. Each world takes its theme and really maximizes it to the fullest. The Cooling Springs world has giant fans, the SSD Speedway has fast-moving data things, and the GPU world is still out of stock. The levels are stuffed full of collectibles to find. There's coins that you can use in a gacha machine, puzzle pieces to fill up this huge banner in this PlayStation Labo room that kind of acts as like a trophy room, and then artifacts that are like 3D trophies that are on display in that same room. These artifacts are 3D renders of old Sony gear, like the PlayStation Eye toy, memory cards, controllers, and peripherals, and you can usually run up to them, smack them, and have something silly happen. Additionally, every level has a few Astrobots filming a scene recreating something from a Sony game, like Kratos on a boat or Cloud's Buster Sword. This game is overflowing with Sony references that do massive damage to Sony fanboys' weak points. The game can be completed fully in a few hours, and then there's the network speedrun versions of levels to try out. And overall, it was a very pleasant experience. This game isn't too tough, it looks really gorgeous, the design is super cute, and the gameplay is very fun. Also, the music is really smart and will get stuck in your head. Though this part from GPU Jungle really does sound like that riff from Love Song by The Cure. If you have a PS5, the game is free, and I'd highly recommend it for a fun little adventure through Sony's history.
Wow, a PS5 title, a first for Have You Played?
It is the very first time, and as PS5s slowly begin to litter the homes of people around the world, I must ask you, Matt, have you played Astro's Playroom?
I have not. I did play a little bit of the preceding title.
I mentioned it in the video, but I already forgot the name of it.
I don't remember the name. I played it for a little bit. I was like, oh, that's cute. And that was about it.
I wasn't aware of this series. I guess that's like a thing that they do with a developer called Asobi. And Sony just has them make a game for each PlayStation, except for maybe the first two?
Yeah, it seems like it's like a mix of like a tech demo and a little, incentive.
Yeah, kind of like how the Mario titles generally work for, well, not always Mario, but generally how Mario titles will work for each successive Nintendo console.
So did you complete the full campaign?
I did. I beat the entire game and I got all of the collectibles in about 4 to 6 hours, I think.
Okay, so that's a nice little fun, like, relatively short by modern standards.
Yeah, it was definitely, I'd consider it like a romp.
Yeah.
Like more so than like a gigantic adventure. But it did make me, I left the experience wanting more. I was like, wow, I could have played this game if it was double or triple the length and enjoyed it just as much.
It's kind of interesting that like a short game these days is like 4 to 6 hours when, most of the like Super Nintendo games I grew up playing, about 45 minutes to an hour, you could beat almost any of them.
But it took you like hundreds of hours to get to that skill level.
Yeah, that's also true.
I'd say the opposite is true in this game. Anybody can pick it up, and it really made you feel like you wanted to collect all the collectibles because they were tangible. You could go in the trophy room and see the different, PSI toy and stuff. It was very cool.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. It's nice to play those games that are light and fun and easy. Not everything has to be a grind. Sometimes it's just enjoyable to jump around in a virtual world.
Yeah, it was a nice break from like Fallout 76 and Cyberpunk 76 and 1976.
Well, anyway, speaking of games that are more on the short side, the game I want to bring up this time on Have You Played is a game called Firewatch. And I'm saying it's kind of a short game, but it's really good. Check it out.
76.
In Firewatch, you assume the role of Henry, a fire lookout stationed in Shoshone National Forest. The game takes place in the summer of 1989, and Henry is essentially alone in his area of the forest for the entire summer. He has a lookout tower with some basic amenities, a map, a compass, and a walkie-talkie. It's through that walkie-talkie that Henry communicates with Delilah, his supervisor. I had seen Firewatch called a walking simulator, which sometimes feels like a derogatory term, but Firewatch is definitely more focused on storytelling than action. The majority of your time in Firewatch is spent exploring, discovering things about the forest, and, over time, getting wrapped up in some increasingly disturbing and tense conflicts. I'm not going to spoil anything about the story because experiencing the story seems to be the main point of the game. But at times, things spiraled into such dark, unforgiving, and anxiety-inducing chaos that I had little flashbacks to Howie from Uncut Gems, a guy who just couldn't catch a break and kept getting in over his head. The circumstances that led Henry to take the job as a fire lookout are uncomfortable to say the least. Henry essentially leaves behind his wife and everything he knows to get out there and isolate himself for a while. And a lot of your extended treks through different parts of the forest throughout the game give you a lot of time to kind of ponder some of the difficult choices that the character has to make. Firewatch is relatively brief and linear. I played through the whole thing in about 4 hours, but I was playing with a certain sense of urgency, like I just had to know what was going to happen next. The game does direct you to each beat in the story, but its pacing just felt right for this sort of narrative. I really think this is the type of game that can appeal to people who aren't gamers per se. The push for games as an art form, or for seeing games as a legitimate form of storytelling next to books and movies, really isn't anything new, but this game is a really strong example of that sort of title, where the whole point is to tell a story in a unique, creative, interactive way that any other art form wouldn't really be able to accomplish. You and Henry learn together in real time, either through exploration and discovery or through conversation with Delilah over your walkie-talkie. These conversations have branching paths, with multiple ways to approach any topic of conversation that might come up, and while ultimately the story does resolve the same way no matter how you choose to play, how it feels to get there really does differ depending on the choices you make. That feeling and the total immersion in it was really only broken maybe twice in my whole playthrough. There were a couple lines of dialogue where something that was already discovered or established was repeated or introduced as new information incorrectly, but it's really not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. It's very hard for me to talk about this one without giving too much away. But as of this video, the game is only $20 and it has over 40,000 positive reviews on Steam. I've seen some folks complain about the ending, calling it rushed, but for me it felt just right. Sort of like sticking your head out of a car window on a hot day and then pulling it back in. I'm realizing that might not make much sense, but just give the game a shot and see if you get what I mean.
Wow, Matt, I gotta say, your video was the true Firewatch.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Andrew, now that you've made that really great pun, have you played Firewatch?
No, I think you might have loaded it up one time when I was around and showed it to me for a second.
I don't think so.
No?
No, I played through the whole thing in one evening. Like I played the first 2 hours, took a break, had dinner, and I was like, well, maybe I'll pick it back up and see where I'm at. And the story
Sucked you right
was,
back in.
yeah, it was just like pushing me toward the end, right? I was like, it's like a movie. Like I had to see
You
it.
had to keep going. I
Yeah.
felt like that a lot in games. I feel like the trailers and stuff that I saw, there was a decent amount of hype around this game. I remember seeing a lot of stuff, but it made it seem like it was cryptic and maybe kind of boring, but I feel like your viewpoint on it gave me a better idea of what the game's actually like.
That is why I didn't pick the game up for the longest time. I was like, it's a neat idea, but it does look cryptic and boring, was kind of
Yeah.
how I felt. I did pick it up on sale, and I said in the review already, but it's hard to talk about. That there are so many big, shocking reveals. It's just it's kind of like it's like you're falling down a hill and you think, okay, I finally like got my land, and then it's like nope, and you keep going down. Like you just
Okay.
like every time you think you've like got your footing in this story, things spiral further out of control. And so like to talk about any of the specifics of a game that is essentially, a visual narrative.
That would compromise the experience?
Yeah, to give any specifics of the story beats of a thing it's a movie. It's a game that's a movie. It's the interaction is minimal in some ways, aside from the pathfinding and the conversations and the actual pathfinding
Are there
in the
any-
games where you're on the trails.
Oh,
But giving it away would ruin it.
Are there any like skill-based elements like timing or jumping over the ledge or like a gap or anything?
No, that's why I think it's a game that if you're not a gamer, you could still enjoy. There's there's no barrier to entry where, anyone couldn't enjoy it because they don't have game skills. It's really a thing that the only thing it asks the gamer to do is decide how they want to interact with the world. I do think that a lot of games, maybe like The Last of Us, where it's not even extremely unique mechanics. We've seen plenty of stealth, third-person stealth shooters, exploration type games.
Kind of bare bones crafting, which I appreciated, but it was like you can make like 5 things.
But a lot of games like that don't really offer anything extremely unique in the gameplay, but offer a very unique storytelling experience. Something I've seen more in recent years is a story mode, where gameplay is basically reduced to the most bare bones elements, and you can kind of rush through the gameplay stuff to experience the story more.
I don't think that
I
is
like
bad.
that. No, I like that as an option,
I know there's a lot of gatekeeping gamers out there that don't like easy modes in games and stuff, and
Then just don't play them.
there is that, exactly. But I also think it does really have a place considering accessibility. That's always, I think, very important. Any gamer should be able to play a game. But also, like, dude, sometimes I don't have 40 hours to dedicate to a game, but I really want to get through the story myself and not just watch a video talking about it. So I think it's cool that we have those options.
Yeah, I will admit, one of my favorite games of 2019, Prey, I played through the second half of the game, maybe the last third. I played through on story mode because I was just
my
like, you know what,
goodness.
I can't really keep
Fake
into this,
gamer!
but I gotta see how it ends, and it was enough that made me want to play it again.
Yeah.
Because of all the different ways I could experience the story, and without story mode, I wouldn't have played Prey through 3 times.
I think we've all experienced a game. There's a lot of open world games that when I play through them, instead of going to the main story like a lot of people will, I'll do like everything else first.
Yeah.
So that when I'm doing the main story, I don't get to a stopgap where I'm not high enough level to progress, or I don't have this item, or you know what I mean? So that makes me wonder. I know a lot of people who experience games where you get to a certain point and it's too hard or something stops you and then you just never really pick it up again. I wonder what kind of games those are. I think maybe you should tell us in the comments which games had that.
Yes, please, let us know.
I don't remember how we end the show. Hey kid, my name's Howard P. Sony. Heard you here to make some new music for the new Astro's Playroom game.
Pleased to meet you. Name's Randall New Guy, but call me Randy, please.
Randy. Pleased to meet you. Well, why don't you show me what you got?
All right, well, this is for the stage CPU Jungle.
Oh yeah.
It's a CPU jungle out there. Computers and controllers everywhere. And no one seems to care. Well, I do. Hey, where's your phone charger?
Okay, that was cool. Yeah, why don't you show me what else you got?
I got some more. I got
You got
some
other
more.
ones? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, what we got left?
This one is for SSD Speedway.
I've heard of it. Yeah, they told me about that one.
But no, it can't be true. I could speed if I wanted to. Like a car in the street. Increase the speed with my feet. We'll keep that. Why I'd speed. Clearly, I'm on SSD Speedway.
Pretty good, I know.
Yeah. That one was cool. Now you got a couple other tracks you wanted to show us?
I got one more in the works. It's for a little level called Memory Meadow.
1, 2, 3, 4. Metal memory. Metal memory. Metal memory. Metal memory. Memory memory. Metal memory. Metal memory.
Well, that one was pretty nice, but you were saying Meadow Memory, but the level's called Memory Meadow.
Well, yeah, but the song's not done yet.
Oh, all right. Well, please continue.
Well, that's really all I got for right now.
Oh, okay. Well, we got a tight schedule running here. We got another 2 weeks before this game ships, so I guess I'll come check on you in about a week or so.
All right.
This guy fucking sucks.
Well, here we are at the end of another episode of Have You Played?
It was a good one, Matt. I really enjoyed it.
Probably our best yet. In fact, I think each one is better than the last, but the only way to be sure is to go back, subscribe to us on YouTube, leave a like, leave a comment, and watch all of our other videos.
Yes, and please share them with your friends who might also enjoy them.
And then also, please follow us on all the different social media channels. There's links down below.
There's Facebook,
Twitter and Instagram.
there's Instagram.
And a couple others that I'm not going to mention here, but you know the ones. You
know
can
the good
look
ones.
up those apps, and we are on there. Anyway, please let us know down in the comments what you've been playing lately. We want to hear from you, the gamers. The real gamers, not us fake gamers. You, the true gamers.
Yeah, Mr. Played on easy mode over here.
All right, goodbye.